First day camp, he was 19 years old. I mean, he's a baby. He's going to get better, no doubt about it. I mean, he was facing big league pitchers, and when he threw him a fastball, they were in danger. You can ask Garland that. But, you know, obviously when you're playing, you know, little leagues and going through the ranks and you hit, they're going to play you. They don't care about your defense. But obviously in the big leagues, you don't have to play defense, especially at third base. And he's working on that, and he knows he has to do it. He got the hands. He got the full speed, too. I mean, he's a big guy that can move. People are going to be very surprised once he makes it to Chicago, the way he moves. And, you know, he's going to be able to steal a few bases, and he's going to move around. He got a very strong arm. He's going to make some, holy cow.
The ball is killed into center field. Way back. Oops. And you can put it on the board. And that ball going out to center field in this park, that is a bomb. That ball does not carry well out there at all.
If you fall behind Soriano and then try to throw a fastball by him, you've got big problems.
Big problem.
That's his 4th home run this spring. He has 6 runs driven in, and that was a line drive rocket.
This ballpark plays pretty true. That's a little difference from here to Tucson. I mean, you can play real baseball here.
Here's Ryan Theriot. Getting back to the second base, you've got one of your candidates out there was looking good, and all of a sudden he's come up, which really has hurt him. A couple of injuries, and that's Jason Nix. That's just inside the bag down the third baseline.
Lucky.
So that's going to be a seeing eye double for Theriot. But Nix, I'll tell you, he was swinging the bat well.
He's very solid playing defense too. It's too bad that happened. What happened to him? And he would have been. Very interesting guy, and he would have been battling 2 wickets because he's a very solid defensively. He's a very good second baseman, and he was swinging the bat well. And it's too bad that what happened to him. Hopefully he gets healthy here in time and maybe make a push. But I mean, it's going to be a little tough. Obviously, he hasn't played in a while, and we got a couple of weeks more to go. So we got to get the guys that are going to help us ready to go, and we'll see what happens with him. But hopefully he can help us at some time.
And Joey, how about Brent Lillibridge? He looks like a guy that can play just about any position.
Yeah, no doubt. He can play short, he can play second, and he can run a little bit. And we put him in center field the other day, and he looked very comfortable out there. And there's a guy that is going to help too. And he's young too. I mean, we're going to be very young in all the position players, seems like, other than, you know, Paulie and Jimmy and Jermaine, but you know, everybody else is going to be young, so it's going to be fun with a lot of athletic guys, and you're going to see a lot of plays that haven't been made in a while, and it's going to be fun for the fans to watch.
Well, Joey, this new setting here in the Phoenix area has really changed things for everybody. Players, obviously, the manager, coaches, because you have a chance to see more of these players on a regular basis rather than sitting your fanny in a bus.
No doubt about it. And I mean, you've been following us the whole spring. And usually when we were in Tucson, we took a lot of minor league guys, and it was tough to bring the big league guys for a 2.5-hour trip and play. Now you see everybody playing almost every game. You hardly see minor league players playing and position players. So it's good for the guys, and you know, they're playing on a regular basis too. I mean, they're playing consecutive games and stuff like that. And it's going to be good. This spring training is a little special because it's so long. You're going to get to see that, but it's very good for us. Great facilities, great to work, and I think the end result is going to be hopefully a championship season.
Jams him, pops him up in the short center field. Wise is there. Well, Joey, thanks for the time, buddy.
Thanks
for the information.
We'll see you around.
All right, Joey Cora, our bench coach. As it's 2 out. And that'll bring up Milton Bradley. One 3-0 for the Cubs. If you're just tuning in, no runs, 1 hit, 1 error for our Sox. Milton Bradley is a good offensive player.
Yes.
That's into right field. Ryan going back. And that ball's out of here.
Now that one really carried, because I don't think Milton got that one real well. He hit it off the end of the bat, but it just kept on going.
That one's shocker right there. Soriano's was in the respect, but it just goes to show you how hard Alfonso hit that ball. But that's just a pop-up right there.
Mark got that ball up in the zone, and Bradley took it out.
So his first homer of the spring. And that'll bring up Jake Fox. Who had a gift hit. His first trip. That's into left center field. And that'll do it. But a crooked number for the Cubs goes up on that board, and after 2.5, it's 3-0.
Oh, and this one is tied up. Time out, Boston.
Man, I wish this game would never end. Hey, send it into overtime. Yeah, no problem.
Boston's going to get one last chance. The pass up to Hampton for the win. Oh, he loses control. This one is going into overtime.
Buffalo Wild Wings, you have to be here.
Oh, my.
People who book with Hotels.com are used to special treatment. They enjoy being pampered and indulged. Or in some cases, grossly overindulged. So we designed a rewards program that meets those high expectations. It's called Welcome Rewards. Book 10 nights wherever you want, even in different hotels, and get a free night. Welcome Rewards from Hotels.com. It's not special treatment for your jacket. It's special treatment for your wallet.
How much sugar is in these energy drinks? Let's find out. While waiting, you should know. 5-Hour Energy contains 0 sugar and only 4 calories. Its blend of B vitamins and amino acids can help you feel awake, alert, and productive for hours without the crash or jitters. The answer is 12. Over 12 teaspoons of sugar and 200 calories in these energy drinks. 0 sugar and 4 calories in 5-Hour Energy. There's a reason people choose 5-Hour Energy 2.5 million times a week. 5-Hour Energy. Hours of energy now, no crash later.
April 6th, it's the White Sox on opening day against Kansas City. All fans in attendance will receive a White Sox car flag from U.S. Cellular. For game tickets, call 866-SOX-GAME or visit whitesox.com.
It'll be Josh Fields, Dwayne Wise, and back to the top of the order with Brian Anderson to face Sean Marshall, who has given up 1 hit, a sharp single to right field by Paul Konerko. Josh out in front, hooks that one foul.
Almost without exception, Marshall has been strike one, and he's been doing it with his curve or his cutter and getting the fastball over the plate. He was in a battle for the 5th starting spot, and I think he's won it.
Took a little something off of that, turned it over, got exactly what he was hoping for, a little ground ball left side. Marshall, you know how you have certain guys that when you have seen them, they either look real bad or real good. When I've seen Marshall, I watched him on TV, he has looked real good.
I think he's got a chance to be something special because he can get the breaking ball over the plate. Now, he's had 3 different half shots at the major leagues, and he's been shuttled in and out of the bullpen. All 3 of his seasons have been under 500, but he looks poised and ready to have a very good year.
That's inside to Dwayne, hitting at .265 with a homer and 6 RBIs on the spring. Last year, of course, 6 homers, 18 ribbies knocked in. That ball was ripped into right center field. Reed Johnson very quickly over, and he's going to make it, throw him out. Safe.
Dwayne has been swinging the bat real well, especially against the left-handers, and I talked with him before the game today, and he said that he's starting to feel a little bit better. He got a low fastball and drove it into right center field. Now, he knows that Reed Johnson is going away from this throw, that he's going to have to catch the ball, set himself, and with that good speed, Dwayne makes it easily into second. So heads up base running and a hard hit ball to the gap.
Ryan 0 for 1, grounded out to Terrio at short. Outfield spread out.
Marshall was always behind Rich Hill in the Cubs thought process, and then Hill inexplicably lost his control. Now he's with Baltimore, and Marshall gets a chance to step up and battle for the job that he's won at the 5 spot.
Takes ball 1. Well, Marshall reminds me, of course, he's taller. He's 6'7", and the guy that I'm going to mention was about 6'3 and a half, 6'4", that you saw pitch many times. He reminds me a little bit in his style on the mound, and also in stuff of Bruce Hurst.
Very similar, and they both threw strikes. Hurst had a terrific career.
Yes, he did, because of what you mentioned. He could get that curveball over first pitch strike. Now he was an 0-1 pitcher,
and he also pitched in Boston, and he pitched inside, and that was the key to Bruce Hurst. He moved around a little after that, but he had a really strong career.
Well, Bruce, up until I was there when he first came up, and he was away, and then they finally got into pitch inside, and when he did, that's when he became a star in the big leagues. There's a curveball strike. That's a Bruce Hurst curveball right there.
Well, that's one of the things that Marshall's doing. He's using 2 different types of curveballs. That was the one where you take enough off of it where the hitter most likely is going to take it, and then he has a wipeout curveball that he'll throw in the dirt. Good rotation and in a perfect spot.
That curveball, good pitch to hit right there. He got it up. So here goes Dwayne into third. Nice throw by Reed Johnson. Meanwhile, 2 out.
You got to be real careful if you're a fast base runner on the pop-up slide to take you off the bag, because wisely Fontenot kept the tag on him, and Dwayne almost came up off the bag. Now he's got the throw beat, but as he pops up, Fontenot kept the ball on him, but John Tum Payne said, "You're in there."
Now Coy Hill out to talk to the tall, slender left-hander, and that'll bring up Chris Getz, who grounded out to his counterpart, Aaron Miles.
A lot of times catchers will go out and tell a pitcher in this situation, don't be afraid to throw the good curveball. I'll block it in the dirt. And that gives him confidence to throw the breaking ball and not hang it.
Here it is. On the other side of that page, you got some other catchers that the last thing they want to do is see a low curveball.
Well, you got to have confidence that your catcher is going to be able to block that. Otherwise, you really have a tendency to hang it or stay away from it. And then it takes away any kind of lefty advantage you have if the hitter knows that you're not going to throw the curve.
That's good eye. 2-1. I don't think enough today is talked about in the game of baseball. You know, when invariably when you're talking about a hitter, is there's a base hit, so Getz clutch, 2 out, RBI single, and it's a 3-1 ball game.
Well, Hawk, that's one of the few times that Marshall did fall behind. He fell behind 2-1. He came with a fastball. There was a big hole on the left side, and Chris just slapped it through. So he's driven in 7 runs this year. This is a good piece of hitting. Not trying to pull that ball, just taking what Marshall gave him, looking fastball all the way, knowing that he didn't want to go to 3-1 with Carlos Quentin up next. And he turned it into a run.
So here's Carlos. He grounded out to short to end the first inning. But getting back to the point of, you hear so often during the course of a game when you're watching it, you know, you shouldn't have thrown him a slider in that situation, or you shouldn't have thrown him a fastball in that situation. Well, the thing is that the catcher is the one who put the sign down, and the guy didn't shake him off.
That's it.
So my point being, as we were talking about it over in the other field this morning, guys today cannot set up pitchers like they used to because of the fact you only having pitchers go 5 and 6 innings. So you're only going to see them once or twice. You can't afford to try to set up a guy and win at bat. The only guy that possibly does it on a consistent basis in the big leagues today is Manny Ramirez. But
Manny Ramirez, Albert Pujols, both very similar type hitters.
I don't know hardly anything about Pujols. The only thing I know, he's just a great hitter. He puts up numbers.
Just look at his numbers year after year.
That's it. But in years past, it was a misnomer, so to speak, when you would say we'd try to set up a pitcher because of who was catching. We would try to set the catcher up rather than the pitcher, because he was putting the numbers down, and we knew the guy on the mound who was pitching that particular day was not going to shake him off, so we would go with a catcher if you're trying to set up somebody. In that respect, the culture of the game has really changed as far as trying to set up a pitcher. That's almost non-existent in today's game.
Well, Hawk, I used to tell the guy in the meeting before the game, because it was a pitching coach and the catcher and the starting pitcher would be in the meeting, how they're going to go over every hitter. And when the catcher would make suggestions to me, I used to tell him, when you show me the column that says losing catcher, I'll let you call the game. But that column says losing pitcher.
Well, you said it up perfectly by starting that out. You used to tell him, okay? You're not sitting there just taking in, getting bombarded from the pitching coach. Well, don't pitch Jimmy Jones this way or Sammy Smith this way.
You can't. Oh, right. Koufax got him with a curveball. Well, thanks. I don't have one. I don't have his. So what am I going to get him with?
So you told him how you're going to get him out.
Yeah, it was, well, I had to go with my strength first.
The 2-2. And that hit him.
That's not a rarity, although it's a rarity this spring, but he's going to get hit around 20 times this year just because he always does.
So now with 1 in, 2 on, 2 out, that'll bring up Tommy, who struck out on 3 pitches his first at bat. See, I love that when a pitcher goes in and you have a meeting going over the opposition hitters. First of all, I like for the whole club to be involved. So the outfielders, and you take a catfish hunter of the past who was not a hard four at all, had a little spinner for a slider, a little spinner for a curveball. And all our pitchers from that era, they would get up and they would say, okay, this is how I'm going to get Sammy Smith out.
Yeah, because the scouting report is not tailored to you. The scouting report was from an advanced scout who saw somebody else pitch against him and say, well, he had a hole inside. Well, guess what? I throw 85 miles an hour. I can't get it in there.
Big hack. And in certain situations, if I was playing first base and we were playing Baltimore, your former club, for an example, he'd say, all right, now when Booger comes up, Boog Powell comes up, I'm going to hang him a couple of sliders and let him come down on him. I'm going to get him 0-2. Then I'm going to come upstairs on him with a fastball. As he checks it up and takes ball 1. And it was really, to me, that was part of the fun of the game, to see a guy before the game. First of all, it gives him more accountability when he's telling the club how he's going to get him out. He has more confidence in going out there instead of being in a meeting where everybody he's going to face, according to the scouting reports, is going to hit 330 off of him.
Well, there's another factor also, and if you're going to take a guy and throw him inside, you as a corner infielder wanted to know, because you don't want him to pull the ball down the line.
As he strikes out Tommy for the second time, but the 2-out RBI single by Chris Getz will go to the 4th. It is a 3-1 Cub lead.
Put that back. The switch, Igor. The switch. Wrong switch. It's alive! It's alive!
Special allocations. Special grand opening deals.
It's Bob Rorman Schaumburg Ford's grand opening. 09 Flex, 0 APR, 0 down. 0 APR for 72 months on new Fusions and Mustangs with 0 down. High
drinks. Order your Fusion Hybrid, estimated 41 miles per gallon city by March 31st, and we'll guarantee you a full $3,750 federal tax credit.
There's only one Bob Rohrman.
The new Bob Rohrman Schaumburg Ford, just 8 blocks west of Woodfield Mall on Gulf Road. It's alive and well. It's alive and well.
Tomorrow, spring training continues as the Cubs battle the Mariners at Hohokam Park. Don't miss the boys in blue suit up for a storm as they try to make it rain home runs against Seattle. It all starts tomorrow at 3 on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
Tuesday, don't miss the White Sox baseball telecast on Comcast Sportsnet as Ozzie and the boys square off with division foe, the Cleveland Indians. It's the White Sox and the Indians Tuesday at 3 right here on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
1-0 pitch to Mike Fontenot. That leaving the count up at 1. 3-4-0 for the Cubs, 1-3-1 for our Sox. Fontenot went out to Carlos Quentin in left field. 1-2 the count while we have a moment. We'll send out a big White Sox thank you to one of our sweethearts this spring here at Camelback Ranch, Glendale. Jenny Gillespie wants to send out a big hello to our Southside Bev Rats. Says miss you and go White Sox. Jenny is the suite coordinator and catering coordinator up here. Does a terrific job. That's up high. Full count.
That's how Mark got in trouble last inning, by leaving some pitches up high, and that's really the sign for the manager and the pitching coach that perhaps he's running out of steam.
Close, but he walks the leadoff man.
There's not many guys on the Cub roster that you'd want to use the hit and run with, but Miles is one of those guys that you can. He played with St. Louis last year. He had a nice year for Tony La Russa and the boys. Now he's wearing blue.
He reached base on an error. Runner was off, so there's the one hopper down to Josh.
And it was the hit and run that kept them out of the double play.
Well, you're not going to steal a lot of bases on Mark Burley. As here's Coy Hill into a 6-4 fielder's choice.
Interesting part about Coy Hill, he came up with the Arizona Diamondbacks, and it came down on a 40-man roster to a choice of 2 guys, and the Diamondbacks chose to protect Coy Hill.
Backhand. 2 down.
And the man that they allowed to be exposed to the Rule 5 draft was a diminutive second baseman that keeps on hitting home runs, Dan Ugla. The Florida Marlins got him for $50,000, and he hasn't stopped hitting the ball out of the ballpark since.
So Taguchi struck out his first trip. Well, the name of the game always has been, always will be, talent evaluation.
Evaluate your own talent first, and then you'll be able to evaluate the other guys, but you'll make far fewer bad trades if you know the guys that you have and what they can, and specifically what they can't do.
Well, that's what most of the good baseball people do. They have a pretty good idea of what you can do. They want to find out what you can't do, and they don't ask you to do it. So if that's the case, if that ball hit into left center field, nobody's going to get that one. Short hops the fence. So Taguchi will knock in the leadoff walk with 2 out, and it's a 4-1 Cub lead.
Looked like another fastball up, and Taguchi turns on it. So has his work cut out for him, because he's trying to make this team as a 4th or 5th outfielder, and I think he might fall a little short in that department.
Here's Soriano. He got the Cubs on the board last inning with a home run. There's a shot, one hopper. They're going to wave him around. Carlos with a good throw is off the mark. Ball gets away, so Soriano in the second, and it's a 5-1 lead.
Soriano drives in his 7th of the spring, his 2nd of the day. This throw off the mark. And off the glove of Josh Fields.
And here's Terrio. Breaking ball low. Is there one person that stands out in your mind and your experience during your career who stands out as the premier talent evaluator?
Guy that Baltimore had years ago by the name of Jimmy Russo. He was the guy everybody called the super scout, and you couldn't get to Baltimore unless Jimmy Russo gave you his seal of approval. And through all of the GMs that they had, and they had a lot of very good ones through the years and developed a lot of good ones, they leaned back on Russo and his evaluative talents to get them some really good players and help assemble their baseball team. And you know, there was a time when Baltimore raised most of their own talent, and then as the farm system started to dry up a bit, they went out, they picked up Scott McGregor and Dempsey from the Yankees. They got Kenny Singleton, who turned out to be a terrific player. They wound up, well, I was over there as a free agent. Gary Renicky, John Lowenstein, who platooned in left field and one big year hit 47 home runs combined. They were all signed off on by Jimmy Russo. I thought he was just about as good as they got. And congratulations, by the way, to Gary Hughes, who is the super scout of the Chicago Cubs, as he's going to be inducted into the Scouts Hall of Fame this year, and that's well deserved. Gary's another guy that can really evaluate.
Reed Johnson chops that one foul.
Well, I thought Mark showed some signs of tiring, getting the ball up early in the inning, and Cubs are taking advantage of it.
That's into left field. Man, that's going to fall for a base hit, so Soriano will score. So the leadoff walk to Fontenot. Then he retired Miles and Hill on 2 ground balls to third. The double by Taguchi. Single by Soriano. The walk to Terrio. Now the single by Johnson, and it is 6-1.
Jack Egbert throwing in the pen. Ozzie coming out ever so slowly to the mound. And that's going to be it for Mark Burley, who's had enough for one day.
All right, Burley departs. Egbert will come on and we'll be back.
"64 teams came, and then there were 4. See college basketball's biggest event on Chicago's biggest screen. The semifinals live at the venue, exclusively at Horseshoe.
Text Jaguar to the number 24442 to learn about 0% APR and exceptional lease offers.
We'll head to the 9th with the Cubs up by 2.
You're clear.
Partner, that sweater is uglier than Shea Stadium.
Surprised you didn't say that on the air.
It's time for a new wardrobe.
I assume you have somewhere in mind.
Wrigleyville Sports.
Oh, no, that place is so intimidating. Too many choices.
Too many choices? Ever hear of asking for help? Their staff is the best.
Okay, say they help me pick out a new wardrobe. What do I do with this sweater?
Easy. Burn it.
Just like your hairpiece.
64 teams came, and then there were 4. See college basketball's biggest event on Chicago's biggest screen. The semifinals live at the venue, exclusively at Horseshoe.
Well, there's a look at Mark Burley. A disappointing day for him. 7 hits, 6 runs to this point. Jack Egbert coming in the game. And he's had a pretty decent spring. 4 walks, 11 strikeouts in 12 innings, and there are a couple of spots open in the bullpen.
So Bradley stands in. He's 1 for 2, a 2-run homer last inning. To the opposite field. Looked like just a high fly ball, but we've had a different wind today than we've had in most games here at Camelback Ranch. And if you missed it, it's just like a fly ball. And there's a shot by Fields into left field. So Terrio will score in a 7-1. All this coming with 2 out, 1 on.
That's what the Cubs are looking for from Milton Bradley. He had a big year last year, hitting .321 with Texas. They played in 119 games, 100 of which he was a designated hitter, which is what he's doing today. The question is, will he be able to hold up in Wrigley Field in the cold where you have to play to be in that lineup? Because he can hit. There's no doubt about that.
He's a good offensive player.
If he's healthy, he can do it.
First pitch strike. Jake Fox. He's 1 for 2. 7-8-0 for the Cubs. 1-3-2 for our Sox. Big hack. And the count 0-2.
Pretty good curveball. And now you'd like to bury another one in the dirt. Probably get Fox, who's trying to win a job as the second string catcher. Because of his versatility, he can also play some first base. But this is a guy that is noted for his bat.
Well, last year between 2 clubs, in minor leagues, he had 31 homers and drove in 105. And that's a fair ball. They're going to wave Bradley around. No throw. And it's a 9-1 Cub lead.
At 0-2, if you throw that breaking ball, you want to throw it in the dirt. And that ball just came spinning right in the middle of the plate. Fox took it right down the line by Fields. And for Jake Fox, he's driven in 10 this spring, 2 for 3 today.
Here's a man who started this inning off with a base on balls.
Close the book on Mark Burley at 3 2/3 innings with 8 runs on 7 hits, a couple of walks, a couple of strikeouts.
Up high, 2-0. Outfield swung around to the left, gap in right center. Huge crowd on hand. Two balls and a strike. And the wind shifting around to where it has been for the most part all spring, coming in from center or from right center. Fox at second, 2 down. And there's a base hit. Off-speed pitch. Picked it up. Here's the throw by Brian. Good throw. He's going to nail him. Grabs some bench. 5th guy that Brian Anderson has thrown out this spring. So he has been throwing some leather lately and also hitting some home runs with a huge inning. 6 runs across the board. They lead it 9-1.
Catching foul balls and home run balls at White Sox games is a tradition in my family. My dad took me to games in the 80s and Taught me how to catch foul balls and home run balls from guys like Ron Kitty Cat Kittle and Greg the Bulazinski and Harold No Nickname Needed Baines. Dad also taught me there's no such thing as an off season, so I practice year-round. It's about quickness, skills, sharp elbows.
I completely understand, Dave. That's why I asked you to come in.
I've just been watching the news, following the market, and, well...
You're concerned, of course. Just don't let your emotions get in the way of your long-term goals.
Yeah, I know.
My experience in this kind of a market, we should take a look at your portfolio and make sure your investments still fit your goals.
Thanks, Bill. And thanks again for meeting so early.
Edward Jones Financial Advisors. Over 10,000 offices, one near you.
This April, a perfect storm of Chicago sports hits Comcast Sportsnet as the Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, and Sox all swirl into action at the very same time. While the Bulls and Blackhawks make their final push for the playoffs, your Central Division champion Cubs and White Sox return for repeat playoff runs. And with over 40 live professional sports telecasts, Comcast Sportsnet will shatter the record for games in a month, making it clear to all. Comcast Sportsnet is truly a fan's best friend.
Welcome back to a sun splash Camelback Ranch. It's the Cubs 9-1 over the Sox as we head to the bottom of the fourth inning. An update now on Bartolo Colon and Jose Contreras for the Southsiders. Both pitched yesterday. For Contreras, he gave up 2 earned on 5 hits and 3 innings of work. But 33 of his 60 pitches were only for strikes. So he had some location problems yesterday. The good news is he says he feels 100% healthy. Don Cooper told me today they've got 3 starts to get him back on track. As for Colon, he threw only 87 miles an hour yesterday. This is not going to be the Colon we used to see who threw in the high 90s before the arm surgery. So it looks like they may need some seasoning with him in the minor leagues, but Jose Contreras is on track to be with the team to start the season. Stoney and Hawk, back up to you.
All right. Thank you very much, as that is a strike to Paul Konerko. 1-1 to count, Paulie. A base hit, a line shot into right field. 1-1 here in the bottom of the fourth inning. 9-1, Cubs on top. 2 balls and a strike.
Well, the one thing you have to do if you're out on the mound and you know that you've got this huge lead is make sure you throw strikes. That's the way Marshall was able to get this lead, and you want to keep your concentration because you've got an 8-run bulge.
Good pitch by Marshall. The only place that was going, if it was hit hard, is foul.
We started to cut his fastball, and that makes his curveball look a whole lot better. You don't need a great slider if you've got a real good curveball. But to give him a different look, cutting the fastball into the right-hand hitters is usually a pretty good thing. And with that in mind, the left side of the infield, Fontenot and Terrio are playing Paul as a dead pull hitter.
Tried to backdoor him right there, misses, and a full count. Well, over the years, baseball, the best pitch, the most important pitch is first pitch strike. Outside, the best pitch is a well-located fastball. Second best pitch is there's a base hit right back through the middle. Has been over the years a good changeup, but you have had some designer pitchers in between. The splitter, slip pitch going way back. But to me, just watching this game the way it is today, the most devastating pitch in the game is a good cutter. I'm glad they didn't have that pitch when I played.
Well, that's one of the things that you don't have to worry about going straight down, especially a right-hand pitcher to a left-hand hitter. Or conversely, the left-hand pitcher to a right-hand hitter. You don't mind if it stays up as long as it cuts in on their hands.
There's a breaking ball strike to AJ, who popped up in the short center, but the ball was caught by the right fielder, So Taguchi.
AJ does a good job against left-handers of taking that ball to left or left center field.
AJ has always been dangerous against left-handers. I mean, from the time he was in high school, he had left-handers well.
Well, he doesn't give him any ground, and he hangs right there, right by the plate, waiting for him to make a mistake.
Oh, he'll have some at-bats against left-handers where he looks like you've never seen one before. as there's a ground ball down to Fox, to Terrio, and back to Marshall for the 3-6-1 double play.
I think that's the hardest double play to make because of the coordination, and you have to have a pitcher who gets over there quickly. From a pitching standpoint, you've got to get to first base, locate the bag, and then wait for that return throw from the shortstop. Fox does a nice job. And you see Marshall getting there just an eyelash ahead of AJ.
So here's Ramirez. Alisei struck out on a good curveball his first trip. Just joining us, Cubs with 3 in the third, 6 in the fourth. All that coming with 2 out and 1 man aboard. Big swing by Alisei.
That was that straight change that you were talking about. Looks like a fastball, just doesn't get there. As long as you have backspin on it, or a hitter identifies fastball and you take enough off, it's devastating.
Off the end of the bat. And Sean Marshall making it look easy. We'll go to the 5th.
People think life in California is one big vacation, but it's really a lot of work.
We have board meetings.
Lots of board meetings.
We're always playing catch up. We're really just a bunch of pencil pushers.
We burn the midnight oil.
Hey, it's a dirty job.
Someone's got to do it.
So if California seems like your kind of work,
when can you start?
Find yourself in California. Fly Southwest Airlines from Chicago Midway to cities in California for just $99. Book now at southwest.com/California.
You are now free to move about the country.
I'm dedicated to being involved in my community.
I'm dedicated to helping area businesses grow.
I'm dedicated to keeping your deposits secure.
Many things have changed in the financial services industry, but one thing has not changed and won't change, and that's my dedication, that we serve the needs of our customers and the communities where we have facilities. I remain dedicated to see that we are locally owned and operated, and that we are not for sale. At Blackhawk Bank and Trust, we are
safe, solid,
and secure.
1 in 3 Americans has cardiovascular disease. Many times risk factors can be reduced with a healthy change in diet and increased exercise.
By participating in the American Heart Association's Lifestyle Change Challenge at Gold's Gym, I'm reducing my risks of heart disease and stroke, and having fun.
Be inspired to make changes in your daily life to reduce your risk of heart disease and stroke. Did you know walking vigorously for 1 hour can add 2 hours to your life expectancy?
Find out how you can get fit by checking out START, the American Heart Association's physical activity program.
Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, and White Sox. Comcast Sportsnet.
A beautiful day here in Phoenix, Arizona. Glendale just on the outskirts right now, and it's a 9-1 Cub lead. That's not a beautiful thing. As Aaron Miles will lead it off against Jack Egbert. Now joining us in the booth is the Executive Vice President and General Manager of our ball club, Kenny Williams. And Kenny, thanks for the time, buddy.
I feel a little overmatched. This is my first time with you guys here. I'm way overmatched.
You are.
I am.
That's into center field. Dwayne's there. Kenny, we've got, after the day, still 15 games left. And here it is, March 21st.
Yeah.
And we were talking earlier in the game. Right now, you've got a lot of looking and watching to do. Let's hopefully some of these players make some decisions for you.
And a lot of them have, both good and bad. I'll be honest with you. Steve and I were just talking before we went on air. I'm kind of bored with this whole process right now. It's been a long spring training this year, and it's too long. It's too long. But you know, you got to try to grind your way through, and hopefully the guys can can peak at the right time, and that's what we're after. Is right now it's it is what it is, but that last week of spring training, you really want to see some improvement.
That ball is scolded by Coy Hill. Tough play right there for Chris Getz.
Okay, for some of the older players or some of the nicked up players, that last week that we haven't had in spring training probably is a good thing.
Well, if there are, in fact, some guys banged up, but you know, the fact of the matter is it's still, whether you're a 15-year vet or not, and you're banged up, you want to get the season started. After you get your rhythm down, your timing, you know, you want to get to compete. And these games right here, they're great as far as, you know, the whole atmosphere of Arizona, people getting out of their winter homes and everything. But it gets to grind, especially days like this. Nice game we got here.
Well, you know, over the years, the culture of spring training has changed. When you played, you guys came into spring training in shape. Y'all were like the first wave of guys who came into spring training in shape, ready to go. And as a hitter, you only needed a couple, 3 weeks, you know. And then prior to that, Steve's era, when he came into spring training, guys still needed some time to get in shape. There were a lot of guys coming in needed that time.
Especially the veterans who eased their way into spring training. They'd come in 15, 20 pounds overweight and lose it during spring training. That doesn't happen much anymore.
Well, they had jobs in the offseason too. True. You guys were superstars, so you didn't have jobs in the offseason.
Well, the thing,
you know,
you go back to my era, we had guys coming in 15, 20, 30, and 40 pounds overweight.
That 13.5 I made my first year went a long way.
Yeah, but it only cost you 10 cents for a bag of peanuts. So. It's all relative.
Boy,
the 1-2 pitch. But what spring training has evolved to now, of course, with all the, as you mentioned, the fans. It's become a fans and a pitcher's spring training.
Yeah. And especially this year, I had to have a conversation with Coop. At the beginning of the spring training, Coop laid out his schedule, and I said, you realize we're down here, you know, a week to 9 days, a little longer. So I don't know if you can afford to get your guys as ready as quickly as you have in the past. So you might want to start them out a little bit slower so you can get to a point where you peak at the end. And you're going to have that dead arm. I think right about now, most guys should be going through a little bit of a dead arm period until they start to really recover, and then you'll start to see them pop the ball again. In another 4 or 5 days.
Kenny, in the conversations that you and I have had this spring, it was very evident in your tone, your inflection, that you are so pleased with all the young talent that's in camp in a White Sox uniform.
Well, we had a lot of work to do as a staff. You know, you run the risk of doing business the way that we had been doing business, of getting too aged too quickly, and we just felt that we had to kind of do some work to get some young players in here, and to a man, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but to a man, they have really done the job.
Stay with us another half minute.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be back.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe the most important connections are with each other.
The next available representative will be with you in 4 hours, 10 minutes.
Get your identity stolen, you'll spend day after day on the phone getting it back, with calls to the bank, credit cards, the Social Security office, and on it goes.
Please continue to hold.
Fortunately, there's Farmers Identity Shield. For just $65 or less per year, your credit is monitored.
Thank you for holding.
Plus, a personal fraud advocate helps make all those calls. So make only one now, to a Farmers agent. 1-800-FARMERS.
Oh, look at that. I just don't seem to sweat anymore.
Everybody sweats, especially now during tax time.
Oh, I don't worry about my taxes. I got people.
People? What if something goes wrong? That'll get some beads going.
Nope, my people take the heat.
The H&R Block Guarantee. We guarantee our accuracy, or we'll pay any resulting penalties and interest to the IRS, and stand behind you if you get audited.
A sellout crowd, and has been sold out for quite some time, and possibly, if you're just joining us, a new Cactus League attendance record, as they have seen 9 runs put on the board by the Cubs, 3 in the third, 6 in the fourth, coming with 2 out and a man aboard. Sox lone tally coming in the bottom of the third with a key 2-out single by Chris Getz. So Josh Fields will lead it off, and here's a guy who looks like a different player. as you talked earlier, you know, you and I were discussing last year, this game is tough enough to play when you got 2 legs. When you got 1, it's a little more difficult.
And it figures that Josh had a couple of defensive problems today because he has been, because we're on, you know, on television back to Chicago, but he has been playing.
That ball deep in the right field, way back. He looks up. You can put it on the board. Yeah.
That's another one, Kenny. We were talking about Milton Bradley's ball. That ball was hit off the end of the bat, and Josh hit that basically one-handed, and it went out of the ballpark.
We're not used to seeing that down here in the valley. This ball at the ballpark has really been playing very fair. In Tucson, yes, that's expected, but that's a little. The ball's flying out today for whatever reason.
What's the difference in getting work in here with this facility where you have all of your fields pretty much connected as opposed to what it was like in Tucson?
Well, we spent a lot of time on the bus in Tucson coming down to the valley to play our games because there's only 2 teams down there. So we really have, I don't know if we've doubled our work, but we've really been able to get to a lot more fundamental work as a team, as a unit than we did when we were kind of separated, because we had to leave half the coaches down in Tucson, down half the players, and you really did. It was quite a bit and quite a drain on us, on the coaching staff and the players going back and forth. So it really, it has served, I believe, in a number of ways, but I think that is probably the most important, that we've been able to get more and more work in. I was mentioning earlier, Josh Fields has been playing a very nice third base up until today, and I think part of that, you know, and part of some of the young players' progress has been because we've been able to stay together and get consistent work day after day after day.
Well, almost to a man, you know, yourself, Ozzie, and we were talking to Joey Cora back in the 3rd inning. You've been able to see possibly twice as much of your players as you have in the past when we're in Tucson. Ozzie, the same thing. So it's a different culture. It's a different spring training than you were able to exercise down there, and that bodes well for the young players.
Well, yeah, they've been able to get the opportunity, and we've been able to see them as a unit more and more. And our coaching staff is so great about going and being involved with the minor league system, and we really do try to kind of blend the 2 together so that everyone's on the same page. And it's just been, there's a lot of people that are responsible for us being here, because I certainly didn't think it would happen so quickly.
Ball is bobbled by Miles, picks it up, throws him out, but that's the second shot that Wise is hitting this ball game.
The job that Jerry did in getting us down here, and some of the people that legislative people that are responsible for us being down here, and then you can't say enough about Terry Savarese and his people, the effort. I walked in this office over here 3 days before we were to report to camp. I had a hard hat on and one of those bright yellow jackets, which is not very flattering at all, by the way. Anyway, I get in here and I see just a mess, and I'm thinking, I've got to call the players and say, we can't have spring training right now. We got to push it back. I guess he put out 700 to 800 people out here for those 3 days, and we walked in that building and it was unbelievable that we were able to function. So you have to tip your hat off to all of their efforts. And
Terry got 700 people already?
Excuse me?
Terry
Savarese, yeah.
Wow. All right, 2 out. Here's Chris Getz. Chris is grounded to second and had that 2-out RBI single. And one of the positions that you've got some guys that are really working hard to try to win that spot. And you had that one guy have some bad luck, as we talked to Cora about, Jason Nix.
Jason Nix is a heck of a player, and it's a shame that he ended up hurting himself. But this young man right here has been, each level that he has played has helped his team win. He's just a grinder type guy. He doesn't have a whole lot of flash to his game, but you look up day after day after day, and Chris Getz has done something to help your team win. And that's the type of player that, you know, you hope that you can bring through your system. So, and he's responded. Gordon Beckham, for instance, has pushed him about as hard as anybody can be pushed, and he has responded and responded well, and has maintained an even keel right along the way. So he is the guy, I think, that we thought we were getting, and that's why when people said we had a hole at second base, well, we got a few candidates there, and I think each one of them can play second base, so not too much of a hole in terms of our thought process.
Well, very rarely do you see the kind of talent that you had at second base. You had 4 guys who could play, and they each brought something different to the table. That's a lot of competition for one spring training.
Yeah, and you know, there's nothing wrong with competition. I like competition. I think sometimes you can fall into a pattern of having your team set for too long and too consistently, whereas you don't create enough competition. I think it's good to have a little bit of youth and a little bit of competition involved with a number of positions. It keeps people on their toes.
It's also going to be a little faster team than we've seen out of the White Sox in the last few years. And that can't, I mean, that's going to help on defense as well as offense.
Ultimately, I don't think I know just yet how Ozzy's going to construct his lineup. But yes, there's a number of people in camp right now. His possibilities are that he can have 1, 2, 8, and 9 be more of a Ozzy ball speed type of manufacturing type offense. Now, in the middle of every American League lineup, you better be able to bang the ball a little bit. So, you know, it is what it is as far as that. But 1, 2, 8, and 9. And then you've got a guy like Carlos who's going to surprise you with his speed and go first and third. So, yeah, there's a little bit of athleticism. We like where we are.
Kenny, thanks for the time.
Enjoyed it.
All right, big guy. Home run by Josh Fields. It is 9-2 Cubs.
Because we can't reinvent traffic, we reinvented how the driver navigates around it. With advanced XM real-time traffic and predictive weather, suddenly, the world's not so complex. The all-new 2010 Lexus RX, at your Chicago area and Northwest Indiana Lexus dealer.
Chicagoans love their pizza. That's why you come to Giordano's, some for 30 years now. We use only the finest ingredients to make Giordano's famous stuffed pizza, our equally famous thin crust pizza, plus salads, pastas, sandwiches, and more. Come on into Giordano's and celebrate 30 great years with us. Giordano's famous stuffed pizza. We made it good, you made it famous.
People who book with Hotels.com are used to special treatment. They enjoy being pampered and indulged, or in some cases, grossly overindulged. So we designed a rewards program that meets those high expectations. It's called Welcome Rewards. Book 10 nights wherever you want, even in different hotels, and get a free night. Welcome Rewards from Hotels.com. It's not special treatment for your jacket. It's special treatment for your wallet.
Tomorrow, spring training continues as the Cubs battle the Mariners at Hohokam Park. Don't miss the boys in blue suit up for a storm as they try to make it rain home runs against Seattle. It all starts tomorrow at 3 on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
Join the better than ever 2009 Sox Pride Club, the official online fan club of White Sox baseball. Members will enjoy exclusive ticketing opportunities, a 2009 game day audio subscription, an in-stadium event invite, and much more. Be a card-carrying member of the White Sox Grand Slam and Home Run memberships. They're available, and you can get them now at www.soxprideclub.com.
New pitcher, Scott Linebrink, coming on for Jack Eggman. Here in the 6th inning, 9-11-0 for the Cubs, 2-5-2 for our Sox.
But the first 2/3 of last year, Scott Linebrink was one of the premier setup men in all of baseball. And then he got hurt, and things changed, and it became a little more difficult in the bullpen.
Well, that's one reason I was so proud of this club last year. I mean, and also, since I've been here, which is a long, long time, I have never seen the fans become such a positive issue as they were in 08. I mean, this club maxed out everything. Our whole problem last year started when Bobby Jenks went down. That was the issue number one, because then all of a sudden they moved Linebrink up and they moved Otell up and got everything out of sorts, which everything was so much on track prior to Bobby going down that we look like world beaters.
Well, if you take a look at the rest of the year, I mean, Creedy went down. Uribe, who started at second base, had to become the everyday third baseman, and Ramirez was the third choice at second base, and he's second to Rookie of the Year to Longoria.
And also you know, when you're talking about Carlos Quentin going down in that situation. So there were so many downers. There were so many opportunities for this club to not pack it in. This club is never going to pack it in, but to not perform, and they did. They kept busting their butts every day, and all of a sudden get to the last 3 games of the season, you got to beat 3 different teams to get into the playoffs, and they did that, something that's never been done. But getting back to the line break, yeah, when they moved him up, then all of a sudden, you've seen it before as I have. A guy goes from one spot, from the 8th to the closer spot because of an injury, or 7th to the 8th, and things just don't work out.
If you can pitch the 9th, then you can pitch in the 7th and 8th. But if you can pitch in the 7th and 8th, doesn't mean you can pitch in the 9th.
There's a base hit. Andres Blanco starts it off here with a line shot single. Well, just because you're a good center fielder doesn't mean you can play right, and vice versa.
Well, Hawk, forget about the spring training aspect of the rivalry between these two teams. Is this more of a fans' rivalry, or was it anything like when you were with Boston, you hated the Yankees? When I was with the Giants, we hated the Dodgers. That's just the way it was. Will this ever grow into that, or is it there now?
Oh, during the regular season, it's there now. I mean, the Red Sox-Yankee rivalry was legendary and still is.
I was going to say, it still is.
And then you take possibly the most legendary rivalry of all, the Giants and the Dodgers. That might be the #1 rivalry over the years when they were in Brooklyn. And you had the New York Giants. That ball gets away. So Blanco will advance. But some of the stories about that Dodger-Giant rivalry back in Brooklyn and New York were phenomenal. I mean, everybody in the lineup. You get Sal Maglie out there pitching, and everybody in the lineup the first time around was going down.
Well, then you had, of course, Marichal hitting Roseboro in the head with a bat, but that happens on occasion. Koufax reaching in with his pitching arm to try to grab the bat, which wasn't a real smart thing. But they fostered that rivalry because coming up with the Giants as I did, every minor league I was in, we had a Dodger farm club in that same league. So we hated them growing up from every league.
Dwayne Wise now in right field for Brian Anderson, makes that play. Jerry Owens in center. Yeah, well, coming up in the Kansas City organization, we didn't have that kind of rivalry. But we created our own, which are done at the minor league level, as you know. Every time we played the Phillies, we got in the fight with them. Every time we played the Dodger team, we got in the fight with them. And the Sox, in my career, the Sox and the Cub rivalry right now, from a fan standpoint during the regular season, this is not a rivalry from these two clubs in spring training, as you know. You don't have any rivalries in spring training because you get a lot of guys out there that are not going to be here. You get a lot of guys, unfortunately, out on that field that are never going to play in that Sox-Cub rivalry during the regular season. But to me, it's as big as there is. I mean, and it's growing. It's growing. The rivalry is growing. It's bigger than it was 10 years ago, and it's bigger than it was 20 years ago, and it's bigger than it was 26 years ago.
Well, it grows as both teams get better, and each and every one of those games mean a whole lot more in the course of what should be a championship season. I mean, the Cubs have gotten a whole lot better the last couple of years. The Sox, a world champion in '05, made the playoffs last year. So as the teams consistently put a contending product on the field, that rivalry can't help but get bigger.
Well, last year, I thought the Cubs had the best team in the National League. I did not think that we had the best team in the American League. I thought the Angels last year were the best team in the American League, but it doesn't make any difference because once you get to postseason play, I really thought last year was the first and most viable time that I would ever see a Sox-Cubs World Series.
Thought they had a good shot at it.
I did too. I thought that was the best shot, as I said, that I've been here since '82, that they had to be in the World Series.
Michael Hoffbauer having quite a spring, and he most likely has hit his way onto the ball club.
He's got some talent.
He's got some huge power.
And I'll tell you, he's got a nice presence at the plate. Saw a first baseman yesterday for the Giants in that game that had a nice presence, who was just 25 years old. He's got a chance to reminded me a little bit of Hoffbauer. Ishikawa, is it?
Yes.
Big guy, 6'3", 220.
We've got a guy in camp here who played with Hoffbauer most of the last couple of years, and that's Josh Kroger. Now, he might not have quite as much power, but he can really swing the bat.
Well, we got another first baseman that's going to play in the big leagues, Brandon Allen. The young man has got a chance. That's what Kenny was talking about. That they decided they had to get more young talent in here. So what did he do? He goes out and he makes some deals. He gets some young talent in here. And I was talking with a young man who's got a ton of talent, and all the coaches just love him. Think he's going to be a terrific player. And that's Johnny Dank's brother, Jordan, who's 6'4". Looks like he's taller than that.
I think it's somewhat surprising that he went to the 7th round, because coming from Texas, where you're exposed to every scout in the country on a game-by-game basis all the time, it's a top-level program. This guy showed some tremendous power in college.
Jake Fox with a 3-1 count. 1 out, 2 on here in the top of the 6th. Yeah, but the coaches just love his athleticism. Said he's probably the most athletic guy in camp. Hit him on the fist, pops him up straight back. But there's another guy down there who, you know, we talked about in our first telecast, Tyson Flowers. This guy's, I mean, he's country strong. Big time power.
The only question with Flowers is, where do you want to play him? Because at first the Braves thought he could actually catch, and then he had some knee surgery, and you know he can play some first, and of course there's a designated hitter.
Well, that's today. That's very fortunate for these young, powerful guys who really have an iffy position because of injury or whatever, that they have options. They have 3 options. They have the position or the change. In this case, as you mentioned, first base for Tyson, or in the American League, the DH. So it's not like, you know, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, they came in with the DH in 73. Prior to that. But Tyler, yeah, Tyler has just got so much power as that ball hit deep in the left field. Carlos Quentin took 2 steps, looked up, and it is a 12-2 ball game.
That's the 4th of the spring for Jake Fox. He's now driven in 13 runs. And I'm not sure what the Cubs can do with this guy, but he's got a major league bat. And here comes Ozzie out to talk with Linebrink. He just threw that ball up and on the inner portion, and that's going to be it for Scott Linebrink.
All right, pitching change, and we'll be back.
"64 teams came, and then there were 4. See college basketball's biggest event on Chicago's biggest screen. The semifinals live at the venue, exclusively at Horseshoe.
The next available representative will be with you in 4 hours, 10 minutes.
Get your identity stolen, you'll spend day after day on the phone getting it back, with calls to the bank, credit cards, the Social Security office, and on it goes.
Please continue to hold.
Fortunately, there's Farmers Identity Shield. For just $65 or less per year, your credit is monitored.
Thank you for holding.
Plus, a personal fraud advocate helps make all those calls. So make only one now to a Farmers agent. 1-800-FARMERS.
At U.S. Cellular, we believe the most important connections are with each other.
64 teams came, and then there were 4. See college basketball's biggest event on Chicago's biggest screen. The semifinals live at the venue, exclusively at Horseshoe.
Randy Williams coming in the game, having a terrific spring. Just a couple of hits in 8 innings. Probably didn't expect to get into this one, but at 12-2, Ozzy's trying to stop the bleeding.
First pitch strike to Fontenot, who is 1 for 2. Also has walked and scored. That was back in the 4th inning when they scored 6 times. 12-13-0 for them. 2-5 and 2 for us. Ball smacked into center field. Owens is there. 1 out. Check that, 2 out.
For all you parents out there who have kids who are left-handed, take away the golf club or the tennis racket and teach them how to pitch, because they can have a 15-year career in the major leagues if they can get the breaking ball over the plate and stay ahead of hitters as long as they're left-handed.
Aaron Miles. Miles 0 for 3 this afternoon. He's reached on an error, grounded to third, and also gone out to center. Sweeping, breaking pitch down and in. Yeah, left-handers. It's a left-handed game. They have a distinct advantage.
Well, they have a 1-step advantage out of the box. That's the first advantage.
The pitchers, if they have a good move, big advantage. As that'll do it, but 3 more across the plate. They have scored 3 in the 3rd, 6 in the 4th, 3 in the 6th.
White Sox baseball is brought to you by Waste Management. From everyday collection to environmental protection, think green, think Waste Management.
64 teams came, and then there were 4. See college basketball's biggest event on Chicago's biggest screen. The semifinals live at the venue, exclusively at Horseshoe.
Sports Rise every morning only on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
Deciding on a color? Let's start with some idea cards. That'll get you to the right one.
We're here because we've been there with the tools, products, and advice to get it done right. True Value. Start right, start here.
Get the right products and expert advice for your next painting project at K&K True Value. Start right, start here.
You're watching the home of the Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, and White Sox, Comcast Sportsnet.
Every weekday morning, start your day with Monsters in the Morning, presented by Next Step Medical Staffing. Traffic, weather, sports, and a whole lot of fun. Monsters in the Morning with Mike North and Dan Jiggets. Every weekday morning from 6 to 9, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Jeff Samardzija comes into the game. Sean Marshall threw the ball very well. Samardzija, one of the contenders for the 5th starting spot. And there's a very good chance that this young man is going to start in the major leagues. It hasn't been a particularly good spring for him, and Marshall did win the job. Now the question the Cubs are asking themselves is, do you send Samardzija down to start in AAA or use him out of the bullpen? He has tremendous stuff, and of course he was a great football player at Notre Dame.
Carlos Quentin will be the first man he sees, and there's strike 1. Carlos 0 for 1, also was hit by a pitch. Samardzija, 24 years old, 6'5", 220 pounds, out of Valparaiso, Indiana. He was fun to watch in that Irish uniform. And he also was fun to watch. I saw him on TV in his Major League debut. I think his first pitch was at 97. The second pitch was at 98.
He's a terrific football player, and he has a rather fresh arm. And I say fresh because he didn't really pitch all that much. And the Cubs drafted him, I believe, in the 5th round, and he made the wise choice. They gave him $10 million if he wouldn't play football and concentrate on baseball.
That's high into right center field. 1 out. But you know, the point is, do you want to get in innings? Or do you think he can help you right now out of the pen?
Well, I think he can.
That's the big question.
I think he can help him, Hawk, but you know, I think a lot like Aaron Pareda, although he's a little more advanced than Pareda is at this point, but he needs depth on the slider, and he's got to work on the straight change. Otherwise, if you can't do that, if you can't give the hitters that look, it's going to be tough to face hitters 4 times and consistently get them out.
Well, to get that kind of experience, it's got to be in the minor league level. Cubs are trying to win a pennant over there, and they've got some. With the 97 games that they won last year, I tell you, you can't waste a spot anywhere, whether it be on the bench or in the pen. As the shift once again is on for Tomey. I remember when we first signed, as there's a shot into left field. It's going to be a base hit. When we first signed Bobby Thigpen, and the decision was made to send him down as a starter to get innings, because we saw that he was probably going to be a reliever. So he was sent to Birmingham to get a lot of innings in, build up his arm strength being a youngster. And Smart is still, even at 24 years old, pitching wise, is still a youngster.
Very young. And what's surprising about a 97 win team, the Cubs, gone from last year's team: Henry Blanco, Ronnie Cedeno, Mark DeRosa, Jim Edmonds, Rich Hill, Bobby Howry, John Lieber, Jason Marquis, Felix P.A., Darrell Ward, Kerry Wood, and Michael Wirtz, all gone from a team that won 97 games. You don't see that much turnover normally with that good a team.
1-1 the count to Ben Broussard. Konerko had 2 solid at bats today, 2 solid singles. Here's a guy, Broussard, that he's hurt us in the past when he was with Cleveland, Seattle. But I always thought that he was going to put up better numbers than he has.
Well, he's a lot like Russell Branyan in that when you throw it in that sweet spot down and on the inner half, he can hit it forever.
Well, Branyan's a little more pronounced low ball hitter than
Broussard. Yeah, well, that's true. Branyan is a dead low ball hitter and can hit it forever.
That's 2 down. And it'll bring up AJ. AJ's 0 for 2. If you're just joining us, 12 runs on 13 hits for them, 2 runs on 6 hits for us. 1 home run for the Sox. Josh Fields, his 2nd of the spring. And the Cubs have hit 3. As there's first pitch strike to Pierzynski. That's out of play. So 0-2 the count.
Troy Hill goes out to have a word with Samardzija. Probably crossed him up on the last sign. Wants to make sure it doesn't happen again with Tomey at first.
Gordon Beckham on deck. So he gets Broussard and Pierzynski on high heat, and that'll do it. We'll go to the 7th, trailing big.
Oh, and this one is tied up. Timeout Boston.
Man, I wish this game would never end. Hey, send it into overtime. Yeah, no problem.
The pass up to Hampton for the win. Oh, he loses control. This one is going into overtime.
Buffalo Wild Wings, you have to be here.
Oh, my.
How much sugar is in these energy drinks? Let's find out. While waiting, you should know. 5-Hour Energy contains 0 sugar and only 4 calories. Its blend of B vitamins and amino acids can help you feel awake, alert, and productive for hours without the crash or jitters. The answer is 12. Over 12 teaspoons of sugar and 200 calories in these energy drinks. 0 sugar and 4 calories in 5-Hour Energy. There's a reason people choose 5-Hour Energy 2.5 million times a week. 5-Hour Energy. Hours of energy now, no crash later.
Lesson 1, we're never late. Make sure you're getting up over your front leg. We like to establish our dominance with a fastball. We throw inside when we have to, and we don't listen to that. Our favorite color is green and buns. Now you know we're allergic to peanuts.
The major leagues down to the minor details. Major League Baseball 2K9.
Play ball!
Rated E for everyone.
He should put a towel on.
It's White Sox premium seating, an experience unlike any other. The Chicago White Sox offer a range of premium seating options like the Jim Beam Club or the new LG Skyline Club. Exclusive amenities and benefits include former player visits and autograph signings, menus provided by Levy Restaurants, personalized service, and much more. For more information on 2009 premium seating, call 312-674-1000 or email premiumseating@whitesox.mlb.com.
We're in the top of the 7th inning. It's been a long afternoon thus far for our Sox, but we're going to get a little life into this game right now by bringing in BB Brooks Boyer, who is the Vice President, Chief Marketing Officer for the Sox. What do you got for us today?
Not runs. Obviously, I don't have any runs in me, but I'll tell you, it has been a wonderful, wonderful experience. We're out here with some of our sponsors, and our investors and limited partners are here. And this facility is just amazing. So the best part about this game is it does not count.
That's right.
Unless we win. We come back and win, then it kind of counts.
Josh with a little jump pass right there. Not in time. Good effort by Josh Fields. But Coy Hill gets an infield single. Go ahead.
Well, this facility, like I said, you know, we broke and I don't know if you talked about this on the air already, but we broke a single game Cactus League attendance record today, and it's something that I think you'll see the facility with the Dodgers and the White Sox will certainly be at the top of individual game attendance records for a long time in the Cactus League. And you know, the guy that really put this whole thing together is a guy, Terry Savarese, who's back in Chicago, really the unsung hero behind this entire project. He basically did this in 12 months when it should have taken someone, you know, 18 months to 2 years, and was able to do this for White Sox fans, and just a terrific job by him to get us where we needed to be today.
Yeah, well, kudos as well back in the 5th inning when he joined us for that 5th, and you know, it's something that by the way, you put on a heck of a show last night at the City Hall.
Well, that's a pretty good restaurant, huh?
I tell you what, you can tie it, but you can't beat it.
If you come out here, we strongly recommend that place. It's pretty good.
That was a great party. We had some of the sponsors there. I had a great time sitting with Jack Rooney, of course, who's the CEO of U.S. Cellular.
Phil Bedella from Comcast Sportsnet is at our table.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, it was just you're talking about, again, time, but you can't beat him as a Sox fan.
No,
a huge Sox fan. Do we have anything new at the ballpark? How about a hot dog?
Oh, great question, Hawk. You know, we had Best Kosher as our hot dog. That line no longer exists, but we are thrilled to be able to have Vienna beef. They're premium hot dog. There's no better in the world, and luckily they're right in our backyard. So our fans, we're not going to miss a beat. We think we've what is always known as the best ballpark dog is only going to be improved because Vienna puts together a heck of a product. They've been longtime partners, longtime supporters of White Sox baseball, and we're thrilled to be able to extend the relationship with them and offer that premium product in our ballpark, because we know our fans are going to love it. It's something our fans take very seriously, and luckily for us, Vienna being the premier brand is right there in Chicago, and we could bring them in. And also on top of that, we're going to have a new out-of-town scoreboard this year, so we're excited to unveil that on opening day, as we're excited to unveil our new banner that will include our division championship from last year. So to be able to have all the stats that we wanted. Some of our fans have emailed me, have talked to me about a clock because the clock got blocked from their seats. We've got a new clock that's going to be on there. So we'll have every stat, hopefully every stat that you could want on that board. And we're going to roll it out this year, and then we're going to continue to improve upon it to improve the fan experience. I mean, the U.S. Cellular Field is a great experience, and we're just going to make it better, and the team's going to support us all year long.
Brooksy, on average, he strikes out Nelson Perez. On average, how many emails do you get a day?
Get a lot. I don't know, 150 maybe. Sometimes 200. It just depends. Depends on what we're having to work on. Luckily for me, I've got a great staff, whether it's the ticket sales or the corporate partnerships or the game operations, the business development people, the broadcast people, so you guys don't have to email me. That's nice.
Don't worry about me.
But we've got a staff that certainly wants to be able to help our fans, and they do a really good job of keeping me updated. But that you get a lot of emails that way, that's for sure.
We'll touch on this new scoreboard briefly. You did it briefly in our first telecast, but go a little more in depth on what else is going to
add. Well, it's where the old out-of-town scoreboard used to be, and you used to look up there and you used to be able to see the score and the number of the pitcher that was pitching and what inning it was in. Well, unless you were following it on your phone, a lot of times you don't know who that pitcher is. Now, when you look up there, there's going to be 4 games that'll be rotated in, and you'll be able to see who's batting, how many runners are on base, who's pitching, the score, the inning. So you'll have much more comprehensive understanding of what's going on out of town.
So Bobby Scales beats that one in the hole. They're going to wave him around. Decent throw will get him, but it's off the mark. Bad throw right there by Carlos. Go ahead.
And then on top of that, we'll have the lineups of both teams. So even when the team is in the field, Cellular Field will show you the batting lineup of the team that's batting. Now you're going to be able to see and think about who's coming up, because you'll be able to see the lineup for the opposing team. You'll see who's coming up to bat the next inning, and you can game plan yourself while you're in your seats. On top of that, with the pitchers and the hitters, we're going to reveal a lot of stats, a lot of additional stats that you used to be able to get, or that you still will be able to get on our left field matrix board, but we're just going to add to it. So you're going to see all sorts of different stats that right now we, just because of the technology we haven't been able to provide. In the days that there is today, people want these stats and want to be able to understand what's going on in the game with these players.
That's high into left field. That'll retire the side. Stay with us another half.
You got it.
It is not good here at Camelback Ranch.
It's a little tradition in honor of my White Sox. I stopped shaving from the last game of the season all the way until opening day. My wife is not crazy about it. She leaves little hints. See, once it gets down to my belt, I know it's time for the pitchers and catchers to report. And when it gets down to my zipper, it's opening day. I don't need a calendar anymore. It's like a sundial. It's like a hair dial.
Grace is power. Introducing the all-new TL.
the most powerful Acura ever built.
Take advantage of attractive lease rates on the 2009 Acura TL for well-qualified customers.
The Great Escape is announcing the final days of our $1 million liquidation sale. Save up to 60% on slate pool tables, wood bars, bar stools, fitness, and more. Don't miss floor model pricing on Brunswick and American Heritage pool tables. Buy any slate pool table and get free installation and free delivery. Save up to 70% on new and used floor model fitness equipment from Nautilus and Bowflex. No rain checks, sold on a first-come, first-served basis. Only at The Great Escape.
Escape your everyday. Shop The Great Escape.
White Sox baseball, April 6th on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
Vizcaino takes the mound. Luis Vizcaino came over from the Colorado Rockies in a deal that saw Jason Marquis go to the Rockies. Marquis is having a very difficult spring. And Vizcaino, former White Sox pitcher, has always had some problems with left-hand hitters because he throws from low three-quarters.
One thing about him, he'll take the ball whenever you want to give it to him.
He has always done
He's
that.
a good guy.
Yes.
Butts up in the booth with us. Chief Marketing Officer, Vice President of the ball club, Brooks Boyer. What, Stoney, you know the guy who won that restaurant we were at last night.
I do. It used to be Dennis Mastro, and he did the Ocean Club and Mastro's in Beverly Hills, as well as a number of different places here, and did a terrific job of it. Started out with bars and sports bars around the college campuses, and then turned it into Mastro's. Since sold to Mark Levy, actually, and they do a great job there.
Well, here's a youngster for you who have been watching and just tuning in that you're going to be seeing a lot of in a White Sox uniform, barring injury. Gordon Beckham. What a good-looking young player. But, you know, getting back to the facility here, and Terry Savarese and his crew doing a heck of a job in getting this thing done. And Kenny was telling us that he got here 3 days before we were supposed to start, and the facility was nowhere near ready. Terry went on and got 700 guys and brought them in here and got it ready.
Yeah, they were working in triple shifts to be able to get this to where it to me, if there's a better training facility for a Major League Baseball team, or in our case teams, we'd be hard pressed to find it. But it really is, you know, when you know it was time to get this thing done. You know, Terry really put the screws to whoever needed to have the screws put to him, and this thing was built. So it was just it's a phenomenal facility. You know, whether you're walking by the lake or the river, or behind, you know, the fences when our guys are taking batting practice, because there's so much access here to get kind of up close to see the players, not only of our team but of the Dodgers. It's just an amazing complex, and you know, our guys, as Kenny probably said before, there's really no excuses. If you can't get ready here, you can't get ready. You don't belong in that uniform.
Well, there's 13 fields here, and the best part about it is for fans who want to come out. Now, obviously this year might be a little bit difficult at this point because we're getting to short time as far as spring training is concerned, but you can see B games right up close and personal and see some of the youngsters that you're going to see in Chicago. Some got guys in less than a year, and that's a great part about this park is the access the fans have to everything that's going on.
You can really see the development of these players, and you know, usually every day there's some sort of minor league game on the backfields, and you know, with this facility, it allows, and being where we are with the travel, and it allows guys to see more pitches. It allows pitchers to be conditioned and ready for their season, whatever level they're going to be. But you know, hopefully when we get there, we're going into, you know, the big league side, and you know, we'll be ready to welcome them at U.S. Cellular Field, and hopefully our fans have gotten their tickets and they're ready to come out and get some spring baseball in. That's for sure.
A 1-1 to count to Josh Fields, who was 1 for 2, cranked out his second homer, leading off the 5th opposite field shot. That's a very powerful. In fact, Greg Walker and I were talking. Greg said this guy has got as great a pair of hands as anybody he's ever coached. Some kind of strength does Josh Field have. Well, he's the only young player that I have ever in all my years of broadcasting now, compared to a young Harmon Killebrew.
If you had a chance to see the Bertucci's,
I saw him.
Did you see him?
Bobby and Bruno, the Flamingo.
Yep. They are not screwing around when it comes to spring training. They came down here, but we told them, as everyone knows, the patio is such a cool experience at US Cellular Field. You've got to do it. If you've done it before, you got to do it again. But those guys make their annual voyage. Now they got to get back to Chicago and get that place ready, because it is it's something that's unique to our ballpark and for our fans. And our advertising that we're using this year is there are traditions and there are White Sox traditions. That's going to be our tagline. And fans, if you're White Sox fans and you're still watching this game, make sure you get to the patio. Create a tradition by going to the patio at least once a year, because it's a good time down there.
Well, the Bertucci's are a tremendous part of White Sox tradition.
Don't tell them that. Luckily, they're here and they're not watching. You can't have them know that.
Yeah. So Vizcaíno, he will slider you to death like Larry Anderson used to do, Stoney.
That's what makes him so effective against the right-handers. The question is, and the Cubs will be asking it, if indeed he does make that bullpen. And for $4.5 million, you would think he would. But can he get left-handers out consistently? Because they've got to find somebody in their pen that can get lefties out.
Dwayne Wise has doubled a shot, and then he hit a shot to the second baseman, Aaron Miles, who made a nice play on it. And there's a strike.
Well, I found my way last year down to the patio on occasion and talked with both the Bertucci boys, and I found that the hamburgers were out of this world. The chicken was terrific. The ribs were great. Everything was just first class down there. Those guys do it right, and it's really good every day.
It really is. They do a great job, But again, with our ballpark, one of the things we pride ourselves on is the great food, and we look forward to all White Sox fans getting out there in April. There are plenty of tickets available. Go to whitesox.com, check it out. If there's season tickets that are still available, come on out. Love to have you.
Thanks for the time, Brooksy.
All right, guys, thanks for having me. Get some runs.
And we'll be back.
Rascal Flatts American Living Unstoppable Tour 2009. Unstoppable. With very special guests Vince Gill and Darius Rucker. Saturday, July 18th at Wrigley Field. Tickets are on sale now. Online at tickets.com or charge by phone at 1-800-THE-CUBS. Rascal Flatts. Presented by JCPenney and US 99. Produced by Live Nation.
Oh, look at that. I just don't seem to sweat anymore.
Everybody sweats, especially now during tax time.
Oh, I don't worry about my taxes. I got people.
People? What if something goes wrong?
That'll get some beads going.
Nope. My people take the heat.
The H&R Block Guarantee. We guarantee our accuracy, or we'll pay any resulting penalties and interest to the IRS and stand behind you if you get audited.
Wednesday, the West Loop becomes shark-infested as the Blackhawks battle San Jose in an NHL showdown. Coverage begins at 7 with Chevy Blackhawks pregame live. Blackhawks Sharks in HD, Wednesday at 7 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Tuesday, it's White Sox baseball on Comcast Sportsnet as Ozzie Guillen and the Southsiders take a swing at the Cleveland Indians in spring training. Don't miss a preview of this season's team. Tuesday at 3 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend.
Pitching change here in the top of the 8th inning. 13-2 bad guys. It'll be Lance Broadway coming on. 13-16-0 for them. 2-6-2 for us. As the outfield, they're straight up spread out. Jake Fox has had a big day in his effort to win a spot on this roster. That's into center field. 1 pitch, 1 out. Fox is now 3 for 5 with a homer and 5 RBIs.
He's convinced me he can swing the bat. They've got to find a spot for him, but he can hit the ball. You see the attendance?
13,311. That is a new all-time Cactus League attendance record.
Pretty impressive.
Yes, it is.
And they got a beautiful day for it, about 88 degrees, sunshine, very little breeze.
Stoney, I've been here almost now for a month, and it's been the same every day. I mean, every day. It's just perfect.
It's going to get a little cooler in the next couple of days, but it's still going to be beautiful.
Sam Fold takes it low, and the count 1-1. I'd say Brooks boy has got some energy, doesn't he?
You have to if you're going to market a major league team. I mean, that's just what you have to do, and you have to be creative, and you have to try to learn how to generate some revenues outside the walls. And look, you're selling a product, and the best marketing plan, there's no doubt, Hawk, is a real good baseball team. But it starts before
That's
then.
Another Cardinal thing. It always has been, always will be.
It's the best marketing plan you can have. But you have to make that experience at the ballpark for the fan pleasurable, and with this economy more than ever today.
That's upstairs. So 2 out. Well, in that respect, in years past, the baseball stadiums were baseball.
Right.
Solamente. And now, as times have changed, the public has changed, the entertainment industry has changed. It's baseball and. Now, today's market is baseball family. Baseball family. Everything is geared towards a total entertainment package. Not unlike what they did in Las Vegas. At one time, it was just gambling. Now it's gambling family. Bring your families out there. They have things for the kids to do. At a US Cellular, got things for the kids to do. All parks are going to it. Park in Atlanta is a great example of that. They can you take your kids there. You can bring them to US Cellular Field, and they can be entertained for 9 innings if they don't want to watch the game. But maybe mom and dad do, but they can be entertained.
Well, I think more than ever, because we're in a battle for the entertainment dollar like never before, because there's a little bit less of it to go around these days in most families, that you have to provide that type of experience at the ballpark.
I know the story that I read a few years ago was talking about in times of national economic crisis that baseball was one of the few industries that went up, because you've got 81 home games and the seats are cheaper than in other sports. Now, if that holds true or not today, I don't know, but they said in times in the past, in terms of national economic crisis, that baseball went up.
Well, Hawk, I think it's a testament to the Sox fans that they renewed their season tickets at just over 90% of last year.
Herman in the hole, bobbles, picks it up. So that will probably be a hit.
Gordon Beckham went to his backhand. Would have been a tough play anyway. And I would think they'd give him a base hit. And it is. That's the 17th hit for the Cubs today. That hit off the heel of the glove, and then no chance.
Mark Johnson. That ball ripped into right field. And that's going to fall for a base hit. So 2 out runners at the corners. And this has been a hitting show put on by the Cubs this afternoon.
Last year they led the National League in on-base percentage and runs scored. And this year they've improved that offense. They've balanced it out with a little more left-hand hitting, and they fully intend to have the same type of offense.
Here's Joey Gathright.
He was a good pickup, because I thought at Kansas City, Hawk, and you saw him more than I did, but he's an ideal 4th or 5th outfielder.
I thought he was certainly more of a National League type player.
Well, you can put him into the game late. You can put him in for defense in a flip-flop batting order. You can put him in to try to steal a base, which he does very well.
The 2-0 pitch. Just on the outside edge. Well, the big thing, too, is when you get, as you know, when you get in a tight game against a good pitcher, and you're not going to hit a lot of home runs. So it's going to be tight. You get down in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning, and you need to steal a base. He's a great man to have. That was one of the big areas last year with Dwayne Wise. And one of the reasons that we got to postseason play was the fact he was 9 for 9 going down the stretch and stolen bases.
He also came through with some pretty big hits.
Yes, he did. But when he went in there, everybody in the park knew he was going to run, and he still stole a base. As there's ball 4, that'll load him up. So after getting the first 2, little fly ball by Fox, strikeout to Fontenot, the infield single by Miles, single by Hill, and now Taguchi. Check that. Nelson Perez hitting in Taguchi's spot. Sox packed with Cubs. Top of the 8th inning. AJ wanted to have a little chit chat right there.
It's been a long day for AJ. With 13 runs and 18 hits, he hasn't caught as many as he would have liked to today, but
still got to get down every pitch.
He is still have to get down for a lot of pitches.
Pull the string way out in front. All right, now let's take a peek at our upcoming schedule. As the count moves to 0-2. This is the 3rd of 6 coming your way over Comcast Sportsnet this spring. Next will be the 24th, Tuesday. That will be against the Indians and the Diamondbacks on the 26th, and the 2nd against Milwaukee. A ball and 2 strikes.
Indians, another team coming from Florida to Arizona, and next year the Cincinnati Reds will also come from Florida to Arizona. And that'll even it out at 15 and 15.
As he strikes him out, so he leaves the bases stranded, but we trail it by 11.
Notice the difference. This is the Arby's roast burger, thinly sliced roast beef that's never fried or greasy, and this is the competition, a fried greasy burger. When you compare the two, you'll notice that. Where's the burger? Drop it.
Arby's new roast burger, never fried, never greasy, featuring the bacon cheddar with lettuce, tomato, and onion topped with cheddar cheese and thick cut pepper bacon. So good you'll say, I'm thinking Arby's.
I personally chose the Excel program because I found the curriculum very challenging.
The instructors really want to see you succeed.
And we really try hard to develop a number of different kind of activities that cause the students to engage one another.
The students in the classroom are very diverse, so the conversations that we engage in are very stimulating.
This is the kind of thing that can change your life, and if you really are willing to work at it, it can make a huge difference.
St. Ambrose University Excel program, the right choice for you, your career, and your lifestyle.
Looking for a great, convenient getaway? Then you're looking for Pizzazz Entertainment Complex. Many destinations, one amazing place. Located in scenic Burlington, Iowa, Pizzazz offers something for everyone. Corporate or leisure travel, family or romantic vacations. You'll find Pizzazz has whatever you're looking for.
For more information about Pizzazz Entertainment Complex, turn to Channel 1 Mediacom On Demand, then visit Marketplace and click on Entertainment. Your wish is on demand.
Bulls, Blackhawks, Cubs, and White Sox. Comcast Sportsnet.
Mike Stanton comes into the game, the veteran left-hander, trying to find a spot in that bullpen. And Stanton has been around. He's had some great years. And if he can get left-handers out, he's got a chance to make the club.
He's got the top of the order. Jerry Owens hitting in Brian Anderson's spot, followed by Getz. And then Carlos Quinn. Wow, 13,311.
It's the fourth time this spring that the all-time attendance record has been broken. This time it was the Cubs and Sox that did it at this beautiful ballpark.
You know, you were talking about at the end of last inning, Cincinnati coming out to Arizona next year. I think you're going to see a lot more teams coming out to Arizona.
You're going to see the Diamondbacks in Colorado getting a facility up here in the valley. They probably will be leaving Tucson for the same reason that Kenny was talking about. The bus rides coming back here are non-productive. You can't get anything done.
How about the travel in Florida?
Travel in Florida is really tough.
It's going to be real bad. Broken bat pop up left side. And that's out number one. Yeah, the travel in Florida now with the diminishing number of teams is going to be really bad.
There's still a lot of areas around here that would like nothing more than to invite some of those Florida teams to come up here. There certainly is a whole lot of spots on the Indian reservation that I'm sure they'd be more than happy to build dual facilities like this one.
Chris Getz 1 for 3 in RBI, had a 2-out RBI single. That was off Sean Marshall back in the third inning. So we mentioned the next game will be against Cleveland on the 24th. It'll be next Tuesday. Johnny Danks.
He's a
the starter in that game.
Pretty good spring. Last time out he threw the ball exceptionally well.
Well, he had that one bad outing. And that was only essentially numbers wise. It wasn't that they were raking everything. So Getz comes up with his second hit of the ball game, both off the left-handers.
And that's really been one of the problems for Stanton over the last couple of years is he's been a left-handed pitcher who has more success against right-hand hitters.
Here's Carlos. Carlos 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch. But in the game tomorrow against Oakland, Clayton Richard in a big start for him. Clayton's got a chance to make this ball club.
I think he's probably in line for that 5th starting spot because it doesn't look like Bartolo, unless he really heats it up, is going to be ready to go when the bell rings.
Is that's foul back? Well, concerning the 5th starter spot, first of all, you're not going to use your 5th starter that much as far as first part of the year.
No, because of off days and rainouts.
Exactly. So that gives a guy like Contreras or Bartolo Colon or whoever, a veteran, time to stay and get loose, especially if they've had a health issue, because a young guy can handle that situation better than a veteran coming back, the fresher arm, not working that much as a 5th starter. Now, you on the other side of that page, you want Clayton Richard because he's going to pitch in the big leagues. You want him to get innings in. So there is the only decision there is which takes precedent. As that's hit on the fist, popped up right side. 2 down.
Well, looking at the schedule for the Sox early, it's 3 with Kansas City with that off day backing up opening day. So you do have the off day on the 7th of April. Then Minnesota comes to town, probably Mauerless at that point. And the Sox hit the road, their first road trip on the 13th of April. 3 against Detroit and 4 you know are going to be played in Tampa Bay because of the dome. Then another off day, and they will take on Baltimore in Baltimore after that. So as it stands, 3 off days in April, not including rainouts.
Well, actually, that's fewer than usual.
Yes.
You will have most of the time anywhere from 4 to 5 off days in April.
And the fact that they're visiting Tampa that early takes those 4 games and takes the rainout out of the equation.
Big hack by Tomey. Jim 1 for 3, a couple of strikeouts, and that solid single to left back in the 6th inning. Boy, they have been doing. Herm Schneider and Byron Ball and their staff have really had their work cut out for them this spring.
They've had a lot of nagging injuries, like the back of Tomey, who said that it happens to him about twice a year, the same thing, where you just have to let it heal. And he's not making a whole lot of contact today, but he's swinging the bat as hard as he can swing it, and that's all you can really ask.
I'll never forget that series in Cleveland when he was with the Indians, that he was really in a slump. And rather than try to just to put the bat on the ball, get him, hit his way out of it, he said, He was swinging every at bat as hard as he could. Every pitch. I mean, he was just turning that fan on. And don't you know he came out of it? He went against the grain by swinging as hard as he could rather than just trying to make contact and go back through the middle.
Well, you look at his numbers on a yearly basis, you can almost write them down. Last year was 34 and 90, the power numbers. If he stays healthy enough, this year it'll be more of the same.
And that's ball 4. Well, 541 home runs.
Here's a guy we were talking about earlier, Josh Kroger, a guy who's got a legitimate shot at making this ball club, because he can swing the bat.
He's impressed a lot of people.
He's got a good stroke and he's got some power. Cubs know all about him because he was there the last couple of years.
Ball goes all the way back to the screen, so Getz and Tomey advance. Pierzynski on deck. Just joining us, Mark Burley started against Sean Marshall. Marshall did go 5, giving up 2 runs on 4 hits, no walks, had 2 strikeouts. So he looked better than that even. He threw the ball well today.
He threw the ball very well, and you can understand why he secured that 5th starting spot.
Burley went 3 2/3. Mark had a 1-2-3 first, then in the second, a couple of plays that shouldn't have been missed were, but he got out of it, giving up no runs on just 1 hit, stranded 2. But then in the third, gave up 3 runs, and in the 6th, they scored 6 times. Check it in the 4th. As there, he gets Kroger, and that'll retire the side. We're into the 9th, 13-2.
The next available representative will be with you in 4 hours, 10 minutes.
Get your identity stolen, you'll spend day after day on the phone getting it back with calls to the bank, credit cards, the Social Security office, and on it goes.
Please continue to hold.
Fortunately, there's Farmers Identity Shield. For just $65 or less per year, your credit is monitored.
Thank you for holding.
Plus, a personal fraud advocate helps make all those calls. So make only one now to a Farmers agent. 1-800-FARMERS.
Did you know with just 1 day of training, you can go scuba diving? With 2 weeks, you can be certified. After 3 weeks, you can swim with sharks. And after 5 weeks, who knows what you could do. But it takes 6 weeks of training to be a customer service associate at US Cellular. That's why we have the most loyal customers in the industry.
People who book with Hotels.com are used to special treatment. They enjoy being pampered and indulged. Or in some cases, grossly overindulged. So we designed a rewards program that meets those high expectations. It's called Welcome Rewards. Book 10 nights wherever you want, even in different hotels, and get a free night. Welcome Rewards from Hotels.com. It's not special treatment for your jacket. It's special treatment for your wallet.
Tomorrow, spring training continues as the Cubs battle the Mariners at Hohokam Park. Don't miss the boys in blue suit up for a storm as they try to make it rain home runs against Seattle. It all starts tomorrow at 3 on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend.
Get Chicago sports news nightly on Sports Night. And coming up tonight at 6:30, Kobe visits a windy city as the Bulls host the Lakers. And we've got a cornucopia of sports for you. The Blackhawks are hoping to get their big gun back for tomorrow's game with the LA Kings. So you can join Gail Fisher for Sports Night tonight at 6:30, only on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Mike McDougal comes into the game. Trying to hold him right there in an 11-run deficit.
$13, 18-0 for those guys. 2-7-0. Check that, 2-7-2 for our guys.
13 strikeouts in 8 innings of work this spring. It's the 5 walks that trouble you somewhat, but McDougal's always been the kind of pitcher, when he throws strikes, nobody hits it. But getting behind and walks have plagued him.
Well, he's been an enigma. There's no question about it. One of the best fastballs in Major League Baseball.
Stuff overall, I mean, his stuff is close to unhittable when he gets it in the zone.
But that's the thing. You got to throw it. I don't care how good a stuff you have to get it over that plate. Major League hitters, and then regardless of that, when you come to them and you're pitching 2-0-3-1, you're going to get hurt.
Well, they know you have to throw a fastball or risk a walk, and especially a guy who can run. Any major league hitter taking the guesswork out of the equation and looking fastball is going to hit the ball pretty hard.
Andres Blanco. He is 2 for 2 in his 2 appearances in this game with a run scored. Cubs with 3 in the 3rd, 6 in the 4th, 3 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th. There's that pitch fouled away. Yeah, I remember Mike when he signed with Kansas City. He was out of Wake Forest, #1 draft choice. And I mean, he was. Then they called him up after a couple of years in minor leagues. He was unhittable.
He's from just down the road in Mesa, Arizona.
Unhittable. The 1-2 pitch.
That time Blanco was unhittable. Because that came close.
There have been a lot of pitching coaches try everything that they knew to get McDougal back on the right track. Breaking ball, and that is out #1.
Well, that's one of the ways to do it, because Mike has more confidence in that slider than he does in his fastball as far as throwing it for a strike. And Blanco, looking for anything but a slider, takes one right down the middle.
Well, last year and the year before with us, he was a breaking ball pitcher with one of the best fastballs in the game. Now something's wrong with that picture. There's that breaking ball strike. And if you ask Mike, if you had to throw a strike, which pitch would you throw? He'll tell you, slider. One and 1 to count. Going back, way back, I faced a guy who arguably, and consensus, was the greatest fastball in the history of baseball. Steve Delkowski.
No question.
Faced him a lot.
A little left hand.